Hey guys, this is Josh from Grapplezilla, and today I'm going to do a bit of a memorial video for um, someone very close to me who passed away recently. I learned about this through Facebook. He was my first martial arts mentor. His name is Calen Paine from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Yes, I'm originally from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, North Canada, as you know, it's by the Oilers hat. Kalen was an amazing guy for me, so I want to give him a little respect and also share with people and who might not know these stories or his history, some of his history, because he was a really good guy and an amazing instructor who had a huge impact onto who I am today. So, as most guys, I'm 45 now. Uh, Most guys my age who did martial arts their whole life and etc. So I wrestled when I was a kid, ever since childhood, and I also saw Karate Kids. So I wanted to learn karate. I started karate, then I saw kung fu movies. So went to do Wing Chun, Aikido, some kickboxing, etc. Nothing really ever stuck until one day I was reading a magazine and I read about JKD and Kali. And Kalen was actually a Kali instructor at first, at least from what I know. So I go to visit Kalen. At the time, he had a little studio. It wasn't so little. It was actually not a bad size, but it was on 142nd Street and Stony Plain Road. Those of you who know Edmonton, upstairs above, I believe there was a bar above it, below it, and maybe a music store. I can't remember. It's a long time. And this was in the early 90s. So, anyways, I go up, meet Kalen. Amazing guy. And back then, people don't know this, but Kalen actually changed his name. His original name was Doug Dobish. Okay, and then he changed it to Calen Paine. He had reasons, and I fully am behind him on that. I'll leave it, with him and his family. Of course, he's passed away. God bless him. But Kalen was there. I was a young kid, and he said, "Hey, grab a stick, let's go." And I was like, "Sticks? Okay, cool, man. I mean, we don't even have to do these without sticks. I'm going straight to weapons." And I just fell in love with Kali. I fell in love with the simplicity of it. I fell in love with the footwork, the coordination, and he was an amazing instructor. So I was hooked. I used to go there if I wasn't wrestling or sometimes playing hockey. I used to go just all the time. I was a gym rat there. And Kalen originally would have Kali, basically was full spectrum Filipino martial arts to start with a mix of JKD in it. So I would go to all the classes. I would go to the weapons class. I would go to the Panantukan, which was the Filipino kickboxing class. I actually got really good at that. We had a grappling class, which was shoot wrestling. And then we had like a trapping class and, of course, self defense. There was a lot of different classes. And I went to basically all of them unless I was wrestling. Now, I was there for a few years. And then in that dojo or studio or school, and he moved to Stony Plain Road, right off of 156th Street. Right across, there's a hotel. Oh, I forgot the name of the hotel. It's been a long time. I haven't been in Edmonton in years. And that is where he had his real first taste of the Real Self Defense Center. That's his name of his school that became the Real Self Defense Center, I believe, until his passing. And during that time, we were doing a lot of Kali, a lot of striking, a lot of grappling, shoot wrestling. But Kalen started to be associated with Tony Blauer from the Spear system. Tony Blauer is a world class self defense guy. He started with Chu Fendo and then changed it to Spear, SPAR, which stands for Spontaneous Protection Enabling Accelerated Response. And Kalen just was awesome teaching this. And once again, I would spend all my time there. And a lot of the reason I spend a lot of my time training in wrestling or in martial arts was because of my tics. I didn't feel so comfortable going out. I used to always get made fun of. I have Tourette syndrome. And Kalen was you never felt that you had Tourette's around him. You never felt anything. He was such a good guy. His teaching methodology was a lot about building you up emotionally, which I totally agree with. Instead of just focusing on techniques, and he was very technical, extremely technical, he would also focus on the fact that when you get punched or kicked, the emotional response into that can make you freeze. So going with something like Tony Blauer's system with Calen's methodology of teaching was absolutely fantastic. Several years passed, and I started to get really good at Kali. And I would help Calen teach seminars all over Alberta. We taught in Leduc, Red Deer, all the little towns around Edmonton. And actually, eventually, I would actually go and teach seminars in Vancouver and in BC as well with Dan Rizzuto. And Dan Rizzuto also had a JKD school, but it was not associated with Calen. But the history is crossed there, and they were friends at the time. What happened is Calen, I moved abroad, okay? And I eventually, like for years, decades, I came back and I saw Calen. Oh, before that, sorry, my memory is going. After 156th Street and Stony Plain, he moved schools again, and his that school was a huge school that was near Yellow. It was like on the way to Yellowhead Trail in the West End, near 111th Avenue. I think that was their street. I think it might have been street. No, Avenue. And he had a massive school above a locksmith um, company that one of his students owned named Herman Commander. Very tough guy. Very tough guy. And that's where like we really could get good training because we could fill that place up. He would have a lot of contact training, and I gotta say, it was an amazing experience to be trained under him for the fact that he was one of the few guys who not only was talking about the technical aspects of fighting, but the emotional and mental and strategical aspects of real self-defense. And I really, to this day, believe that he's one of the best or was one of the best self-defense guys out there in the world. And I've been all over the world, seen tons of martial arts, etc. And I think Calen really understood it. Calen was a smaller guy in stature. For you, of course, you know that I'm a massive guy, but because of that, he had to rely on technique, on his mentality, on timing, on the emotional awareness, and that's why he was such a good instructor. Um, I remember we used to go to Calgary all the time to train with his Kali instructor named Dan Ritano. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but he did Kali, the estacado system. Estacado means death touch, I believe is in Tagalog, which is a Filipino language, of course. And it's very similar to Lameco, might be even more full spectrum than Lameco. And we used to go to Calgary all the time to train there, even during these crazy snowstorms where he's like, look in front of me in the car and man, we're going like 30 kilometers an hour. I can't see like 2 feet. And he's like, he would tell me stories about him in the army during these rides, etc. And just an absolutely wonderful guy. Now, I came from a little bit of a troubled house, little is a exaggeration, very troubled house. So Calen really built me. And to this day, like I always remember him saying, Josh, my name's Joshua, what's the difference between you and Tank Abbott? I said, well, Tank Abbott's killer. He goes, yeah, it's all mentality. And to this day, like I really agree that the mind controls the body, and Calen was all about that. And he also taught me how to learn, how to instruct, but especially learn how to pick apart facts and understand the source of knowledge, to understand my goals, what I want, and to look at things in a positive nature. Um, we continued training, and I actually left Canada and I traveled all over the world. I did the military somewhere, and it doesn't matter. And I came back years later, and he had a new school, which to the date of his death, this is the school it was, and that was a massive school. It was beautiful to see. And I walked in, I surprised him. He goes, Joshua, how you doing? And we spent a long time talking and reminiscing, and I was so proud of him that he got this school up, the Real Defense Center, and just an amazing guy. He obviously, we would shoot the shit, as they say, and talk. And yeah, I had to go back home, which wasn't in Canada. And over the years, we contact each other on Facebook sometimes, etc. But as in life, you take your own path, right? And what happened is a few weeks ago, now it's November 7th, 2024. A few weeks ago, I see like all these messages about Calen and pictures. And I said, what's going on? And they're like, oh my God, he passed away. And I felt emptiness, an emptiness because he really was my mentor. Okay. I always looked up to Calen. I always thought he really taught me how to think and how to act and how to learn. It's such an important thing. How to learn was the biggest thing I learned from him. And I saw he passed away. And like this emptiness was in me, this absolute emptiness. And I look and I saw he passed away from cancer. That's what I believe. That's what I read. And when someone passed away, I always was saying, in the next couple of years, I'll go back to Edmonton. It'd be great to see Calen, etc., and come up and surprise him again. But I can't. So I just want to put this video or podcast, for those listening to this who knew Calen, just to give him a little bit of an insight into someone's viewpoint into his life and how he touched me. What was interesting is looking at Facebook, he also touched a lot of other people's lives. And I'm talking about thousands of people. And I can just say one thing, Calen Paine, you're going to be missed. And see you on the other side one day. And until then, I'm sure you're up there playing your drums, having fun, listening to some good music, chilling, dancing, and just smiling like you always did. Anyways, buddy, this is Grapplezilla. Grab, throw, tap, and have a great day.